Lemon Amiga presents a Playguide video review. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi, welcome to another Lemon Amiga Playguide and review. This time we'll be checking out Shadow of the Beast 2, developed by Reflections and published by Psygnosis in 1990. Even though this is an Amiga classic, unfortunately I'm no good at playing it, so what I'm going to have to do is to play this video, which is from Laffer35, and Laffer is an expert at this game, so he will demonstrate the game live to you. And because this thing does not run at full PAL, yes, there is space underneath for him to leave his comments. So this will be a kind of dual review. He'll be playing it and I'll be commenting over the top of it. Shadow of the Beast 2 begins with a very famous introduction sequence which was played in every single Amiga shop window at the time on loop, and we couldn't help being impressed by that, and I couldn't help being impressed by that in 1990 because I hadn't yet got my Amiga, and I think I got my Amiga in 1991. But this game is definitely an icon. It might not be everybody's favourite game, but you can see some time and effort has gone into this introduction. It's a cut above some of the platformers around at that time, and I thought it was so good that I actually used this as an inspiration for my introduction for the Amiga Quantum Leap documentary, and of course I took the credits from Legends of Valor. But moving back to the Amiga, you can see some great lighting effects and subtle changes as the enemy grabs the Fair Maiden and sweeps her away, and that just means that we need to go after her and free her, of course, from an amazing maze of puzzles and death traps and things which will kill us. So as we move through the game, that's the introduction, and that just means that we need to use the other disc in this case because it's a 2-disc game, and you'll have to swap those discs over regularly, but the loading isn't so long until we get to that title screen. So without further ado, this belated review will now continue as Laffer presses the fire button and checks this game out. Shadow of the Beast 2 is a game that I didn't have back in the day, but I did play it thanks to, of course, a copy which was floating around, and I played this several times, but unfortunately I couldn't get anywhere with it, and the cheat for this game is to run right from the start and ask the guy for 10 pints, and that will give you unlimited health. And yes, I did that, but unfortunately I still didn't get anywhere with the game. You can see the graphics are very reminiscent of the first game, and you can see that they have taken a little bit of an update, and that means that the experience of playing the game should be a little bit more diverse. And yes, it is more diverse with lots more enemies, but also lots more traps. And if you don't get rid of that guy on the rope, then that's game over. Then there is no way to complete the game. And it's those kind of situations which litter Shadow of the Beast 2 which make it borderline unfriendly. like a turrican game, the game area is split into different sections which have to be loaded on the disc, and you will notice that there is a key you left behind. If you'd marched on, then you would have left that behind, and that's one of the key items in this game, of course. And yes, you have to duck just before something wipes the player out instantly, and so this game, just like Rick Dangerous, is a trial and error experience. For the first half of this review, we'll try to stay jolly and upbeat about this game, but for the second half, unfortunately, things are going to get a little bit more serious as we talk about human beings. But in fact, if you don't like that sort of thing, then at least you get this first part where you can see that the player is able to get through these things and able to collect the valuable coins that they need to get through the entire game. Yes, just like a Dizzy game, unless you collect every single coin and find every single one of those, then the game will refuse to continue and you will be stuck at some point without the coins left. Players who can speedrun this game can complete it in around 25 minutes, and that's not bad playing time. But when you consider I probably played the Lotus series for well over 100 hours, and Super Frog I at least played that for maybe 50 hours, then you can get to see at some point that 25 minutes to complete this game isn't amazing. But then again, the replay value factor of players trying to get through it and dying means that they will have to spend many hours, at least 24 probably, to try to discover all these traps and figure a way through them. And for the patience of a saint, that is possible, but for the rest of us, I find that that is very difficult, and I quit this game long before we reached this part. A great thematic soundtrack accompanies us throughout the game, and just like a Monkey Island game, that works on cue, so when we enter different realms that music will change. So yes, this is one of those themes which is varied and you don't get the same theme over and over again, it does change. And so that creates a theatrical atmosphere and some drama to this game, and unfortunately the sound effects don't give us that drama because they are very incredibly weedy. Now 1/3 of the way through this game, and we are being stopped by a monster who does take some patience yet again to knock out. And yet again, if we can sit in the correct place, we can wait for that monster to arrive and not risk any energy apparently. But yes, mistakes can easily be made because everything has to be done to the pixel and timed to perfection. Another cheap trick is to force the game all the way back to the start, and at some places you'll have to backtrack all the way back to places that you visited before, and that means more disc loading, and because the enemies have disappeared, it means that you have to get all the way there. Just like all those worst platformers, if we collide with water then that's an instant death, and it's an instant death to the enemies as well, and that's one way to defeat these, by pushing them back until they fall into the water. But you can see this one is a little tougher and you have to push that thing all the way back, and that's not really easy or fair on the player, but here we go, that's the enemy dispatched. Much like other typical Psygnosis games, this game has cutscenes and stills, and those aren't quite as good as they were in Agony, but you can see that there is a copper background, and I'm not quite sure whether that was yet again better done in Agony, but you can see this game does run smoothly and there is no jittering as we run along at high speed through this level back to a puzzle that we were supposed to have figured out. See, if you know exactly where to go and what to do, then you will have lots of health potions, and I'm not quite sure what all of these do, but apparently these pickups are useful for something, and we'll find out just what during the game. And you can see lethal drops of water again, we have to avoid those, and we have to climb up some branches and hopefully head back towards the start of this game all over again. Taking a look at the scores, the highest score went to Joystick 9 magazine, who awarded Shadow of the Beast 2 96%. The second highest went to Generation 4, who awarded this 95%. Amiga magazine gave it 94, Amiga Format gave it 87%, Zero magazine gave it 87%, The One gave this 86%, Amiga Action gave it 84%, and Acar magazine gave it 83%. Current score on the Lemon Amiga website is 71%, Ace magazine awarded this 60%, CMVG gave it 59%, Amiga Joker gave this 42%, CU Amiga never even rated this game because it never reviewed it, and Amiga Power also similarly never reviewed this game. After all of that, this game gets an average score of 7 out of 10, and you might notice some coins there, and those coins are very handy to memorise because you'll be forced all the way back there to pick those up all over again, otherwise you cannot complete this game. And there are too many of those moments throughout this game, and that's why I got very infuriated with it. And if infuriation is your bag, then this is good, but otherwise, sorry, this is going to take some time to master. second half of this review, I'd just like to talk about the person reviewing this, i.e. playing this game. In the footage, that's Laughter35, and Laughter35 was a great supporter of the Lemon Amiga channel, and certainly a great supporter of me when I got started. And way back when, it could have been 2013, during the very first year that the Lemon channel started, I was pretty shaky and I was just above the worst of the reviewers at that time. I didn't think my reviews were much good. But I got a contact from Laugher who said this is great and this is definitely the best Amiga channel rating games on the Amiga on YouTube, which I was blown away by, and I thought, thanks a lot, that's great feedback, that's amazing. And after several more reviews, I got talking to Laugher and we seemed to get on well, and he seemed to suggest this game. And he said, how about Shadow of the Beast 2? You seem to be the best out there and you can give it a good go. And I replied, unfortunately, I can't get anywhere with the game. In fact, I don't really like this game, and so I like to, as you know, give each one of these games a challenge and a playthrough, and I also like to champion each one. And to be honest, I actually hated this game back in the day, and hate is not a word that I would use lightly to describe a game, and the feelings inside this game actually filled me with horror. After a few more comments, the Laugher character decided to get a little bit irate and said, well, you know, why don't you just have a go? Why don't you practice with this game? It's very rewarding and it's very challenging, but I'm sure you'd make a great player guide and review. But there was absolutely no way that I could give justice to this game. There's no way I could champion it because of my feelings for it. And I said, well, there's no point really, because I can only get as far as maybe the 4th screen before I lose all my lives and die. But he wasn't having any of that, and he actually got very abusive at one point and started to curse and swear and demanded that I review this game, and he really made a stand for this game and championed this all of himself. After a few more emails of backwards and forwards talking, he basically said, would you review this game if my life depended upon it? And I thought, well, that's pretty melodramatic, of course. I would, of course, review this game if your life depended upon it, but I don't think it will ever get to that, and unfortunately I'm no good at it, so try as you might, I will never review this game. And he replied, well, never is a very long time, and I simply can't wait forever for this game to be reviewed on your channel. And really, with a sad heart, he then got very abusive, and I had to remove his comments from whatever video it was upon. And luckily all of these comments were just upon the one video, so I really did feel bad about deleting the whole thing, but abusing my sense of esteem when it comes to reviewing these games, I could not see a way forward, and in fact the only way that I could see forward long after that event was if I actually used his review and his footage and talked over it, which is precisely what I'm doing now. A few days after I deleted those abusive comments, unfortunately the sad news hit home that Laughter35 had actually taken his own life, and I've no idea whether my comments and apologies had led to that. If it did, well, I'm absolutely sorry and obviously regretful about that, but of course it came as a massive shock that one of my fans had actually committed suicide, and other YouTubers at that time actually did tribute to Laugher, and I guess this is my tribute to the guy. And if, well, whatever way, shape or form he was in at the time, of course he must have been in a pretty bad way, and my comments and apologies would not have helped the matter. but I do not take this lightly. I did not take it lightly at the time, and I felt very responsible for it, as you can imagine, and very, very down and very, very bad. If I had only known that Laffer was in such bad health, we could have talked about it and I could have found a solution, but that didn't happen, and well, for whatever reason, this game is destined to be reviewed on this channel, and he made that happen by making that stand. And unfortunately, my health is actually in question because I have a condition which affects me in various ways, and it's like a huge kick in the backside sometimes, and that's actually a kidney condition, and half of my side of the family actually died with something which required, well, things which made sure that they passed away in the 40s and 50s. So I'm under no illusion that with the conditions that I'm in, I will have a certain time left, and that's why I tried to do the quantum leap thing when I did, because I wanted to put all my available time into it. I'm not about to fall off my perch backwards tomorrow, but I probably have 10 or 20 years left given my life expectancy, and my father was on dialysis, well, in his 40s, and now I'm in my 40s. So apart from that, we can see that we are getting towards the end of the level, and with the time that each of us has remaining, I'd just like to say thank you for watching all of my play guides and reviews. And it really does take all kinds of influences and sources for me to review these games and give tribute not only to the game but also to the people who play it. And in my small part, I hope Laffer, when I see him again, I'll certainly be having a conversation with that guy and saying, wow, you know, I did at least review your game after all. And so this is him playing it, and so for the final time we'll get to see this game, and this is the final game boss that we're seeing at the moment, with something that fires pretty much like Awesome, the game that we've reviewed. And this game is, well, it has awesome graphics, awesome sound, well, awesome music, and well, maybe the puzzles aren't so awesome, but it did have its fans, and Laffer was a massive, massive, huge fan. And the long play alternative that you can see on YouTube to this day was actually recorded by him.